Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Maryland Almanac. Spring is finally here, and it's now time to start planting your garden. So, if you are looking for any inspiration on native plants in your garden or you want to do some native landscaping, I've got you covered. This video will be focused on Maryland's native species for both food and flowers, but this advice can be used anywhere in the Mid Atlantic if you want. So before we start, I want to say that the number one resource that I have found for gardening in Maryland is the UMD Master Gardeners Program. This website has resources on native and non-native plants, from when to plant to advice on natural lawns. There is information for everything here. If there's anything in this video that you want to learn more about, then the Master Gardeners website will have more on it. I'll link it in the description below. Let's start with the famous Three Sisters of corn, beans, and squash. This is a planting method pioneered by Native Americans, where the three sisters are meant to support each other throughout the growing year. The wide leaves of the squash prevent moisture from escaping the soil and prevent weeds and predators from accessing the plants. The stalk of the corn provides a place for the climbing bean to latch onto, and the beans fix nitrogen from the air into a fertilizer for the squash and corn. If you have any qualms that corn is not technically native to Maryland, since it was introduced from Mexico by Native Americans about 600 years ago, you can plant sunflower instead. The process for growing the Three Sisters is pretty complicated, and different varieties of corn, beans, or squash may work differently off of each other, so I'll provide a link in the description to a guide. If you're looking for a more permanent fixture in your yard or garden, you might be interested in a fruit tree. So there are two fruit trees that I might recommend. First is the serviceberry. This is a common tree for decoration, so chances are it will look pretty nice on top of providing food. Its fruit, I've heard, taste a lot like blueberries, but I've also heard that some cultivars, especially the ones bred for fall foliage, can taste kinda bland. The second tree is an American persimmon, and unlike the serviceberry, I actually have had an American persimmon before, and I can say it tastes really, really good. It might actually be my favorite fruit. If you've had any Asian persimmon, it tastes kind of like a candied version of that. There are two major drawbacks to this tree, though. First, the fruit does not keep at all unless you freeze it or jam it immediately. It's already basically jelly by the time that it's ripe, so you gotta move it or lose it. Second, the persimmon naturally either produces male or female flowers, and only the females bear fruit. There are modern cultivars that can self pollinate and produce a seedless fruit, but you have to make sure that that's the one that you get. So, those are 6 crops to plant for food, but what about some flowers? Well, I've already mentioned sunflowers, but they do grow here natively. If you grow them instead of corn and the Three Sisters, then the thicker stems of the sunflowers can let you grow heavier varieties of beans. But it really does matter on the variety of sunflower and the kind of bean that you have, so make sure to check that with another source before you start. If you're newer to gardening, then you might want to consider the black-eyed Susan, which is the official state flower of Maryland. It's very, very easy to grow. It's basically like a Maryland version of a dandelion. This thing can grow out of concrete. If you're like me and you don't own a house and just have an apartment, the black-eyed Susan can grow on a south-facing apartment balcony. And so this last flower isn't from Maryland, but I'm including it in this list anyway, and I hope you'll see why. The Sweet William is an English flower with these red and white petals. They aren't perennials like the black-eyed Susan, but they do self-seed and will return every year. The reason why I'm including them is this old Baltimore poem about the black-eyed Susan's namesake. It follows this young maiden named Susan, whose eyes have been black because she's been crying, and she comes to see her lover, Sweet William, off on his sailing voyage across the world. Black-eyed Susan thinks that this is a permanent goodbye because sailors are known for finding a new lover in every port. But Sweet William pledges his love to her and says that there will be something in every port that will remind him of her. It's a pretty sweet poem, and it's said that the black-eyed Susan and the Sweet William will bloom on the same day as a symbol for their love to each other. And so those are some plants and resources to help you get started for gardening in Maryland. If you have any native plants in your garden, please let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.